whatever you would like to do, I'm just saying I'm available. I'm available, Jones.
Defending Utah covers the stories others are just too often afraid to touch.
They don't nibble around the edges when it comes to pointing out threats to our liberty. They're not afraid to name names and call out organizations.
This is Defending Utah Radio, every Friday morning at 9 on K-Talk 1640. Defending Utah. Think right and wrong, not right and left. Join Defending Utah, because if you're not already on a government watch list, you should be. Can't get enough Defending Utah Radio? Then follow us on Facebook and subscribe to Defending Utah's YouTube channel. DefendingUtah.org. Think right and wrong, not right and left.
And welcome back. This is Freedom Friday right here on K-Talk AM 1640. This is Defending Utah Radio. It is June 21st and 10:24 a.m. And before we went to the break, we were talking about how these California, what does it mean when we talk about how the establishment, how the conspiracy in Utah is working for the Californication of Utah? And showing how, just based off of quote-unquote internet rumors, maybe a Facebook chat or something, that they were able to raid a private Christian school and not allow them to reopen until they allowed students that violated the school's, like in Utah, we've got you and I, Rod, did the BYU Honor Code podcast. Yeah. If you haven't listened to that, go there. We've got it both on our Defending Idaho as well as Defending Utah podcast. Talking about how they're trying to force BYU to not just allow, but to promote homosexuality. And so that's what's going on here. You're in California. If you want to own a business, like a private school, you cannot set rules for who goes there. You have to allow every kind of activity that even goes against your organization's principles.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And that's exactly what they're trying to push here. And I want to play this clip that a lot of people might have forgotten about, where Governor Herbert spoke at the Alta Club.
Just so you know, because this will be unprecedented for me, because I am going to be going on the High Giddy Up campaign for the next few weeks. The state's going to be run by Justin, the Lieutenant Governor. So I will go anywhere. I will meet with people, will come to your office, you bring them in, and we will give them quality time, but we've got to raise the money. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We've got to raise the money somehow.
I have a question regarding talking about specific issues and giving money at the same time. My clients would not feel comfortable doing that. So.
Perfect. You really don't want to talk to your clients. However it works for your folks. Again, this is
let me be very. We need to be very careful about that, and that's a very, very good point. I mean, this isn't come give us a check.
There's
and
no
we'll take
quid
care
pro
of your
quo
issue.
here at all. We may disagree with some things with our clients, but I hope that we're all understand we don't want to be one issue oriented people. It's the plethora of the issues out there, and again, I'm probably the only person in this room that agrees with me on 100% of the issues is me. And even that may be questionable. So, again, we're not going to agree on everything. But I think on balance, we're giving you the results that you want. So, however we want to do this, if we need to have multiple meetings, or let's sit down and talk, and you can give us a check later or before, and then whatever you would like to do, I'm just saying I'm available. I'm available, Jones.
I'm available, Jones. So if you don't get that reference, this is an old-timey, like, go back to, like, the... what's it called? The Great Depression. This comic strip of Available Jones was basically he would do anything for money.
Didn't know that. And
so that's what that reference means. And you have Spencer Cox, who's now running for governor, coming in and saying, "Wait, hold on, Governor. We don't want you to. We want to make sure there's no quid pro quo here. You know, we're not saying we're going to give you something if you give us cash. We're just saying if you give us cash, we'll meet with you and we'll provide results."
That's completely different.
That's totally different. It's like with you, Mike, when the cops came and And you said they can't search your place without a warrant. And they said, well, we're not searching the place, we're inspecting it.
As the fire marshal said.
Yeah.
Because searching and inspecting are two totally different things.
Totally different
The guy
things.
didn't even come in through the front door.
Oh, my God.
He came in through my bathroom door through my neighbor's shop.
Right.
Yeah, just came busting in.
If you just
like
change the way
he
you
owned
call it.
the property.
Right.
Now you're going to have to get licensed by the state and give your children the rights to sexual exploration before you can...
before you can fix another car. So this is exactly... So people understand that, people have been going around thanking Governor Herbert for being pro-life because he showed up to a movie, even though all of his legislation is for killing babies and supporting Planned Parenthood. This is the kind of guy he is. He is going out and saying that you give me money, I'll meet with you and provide results. I don't have to agree with you, but we get this going on. We're going to provide results for you.
Let me step in real quick. I want to say something. So notice the way he was trying to get around the impropriety here. Instead of you showing up and giving me money and we have the discussion, we break it into pieces. Right. You show up, we have the discussion. Later you give me the money. Or you give me the money first. And it's two different transactions that we have plausible deniability.
Completely unrelated.
Yeah. So I just got a text I saw a Facebook post from a friend this morning about the Equality Act that they're trying to pass, right? And so what she put in there was the fact that what they're doing there, since people are in such strong opposition to this, they're breaking it into little pieces and putting those pieces in other legislation. This exact same thing that Governor Herbert was talking about here. I'm going to get this one way or another.
Right.
There's laws to stop me, so I'm going to just break it up into pieces, and then I have plausible deniability, and so we're just going to pass it piecemeal. It's the exact same thing. It's a tactic that they use. I just wanted to point it out. It's the exact same thing they're doing there.
And then, so this leads us to now we've got the guy that was covering for the governor. So people say, well, Cox is his own man. He's different than Herbert. And so we've got to support Cox that's running for governor. Well, no, the same kind of corruption is going on here where you've got Spencer Cox has a podcast partnership with KSL where they run his podcast for him and they host all of the different things through KSL News and KSL TV to be basically the KSL has their line of podcasts where they are airing Spencer Cox's programming. And what's interesting is this is if any three of us right now were running for office, this radio program would be against FEC regulation because then they would have to give another candidate equal time. And so it is against and because they're not actually paying for it, it is a free. It's because it's just one of their on-air talents. They're not charging for it. So now, if they were actually following the law, anybody running for governor now would have to be given a free podcast program. But KSL is saying no, this is completely different.
Yeah. By providing it for free, they're promoting it. They're saying they're putting their force behind their resources.
Their response is, well, KSL does not endorse candidates on any platform. Spencer Cox is the current lieutenant.
Except our own radio.
Spencer Cox is the current lieutenant governor, and as such is a public figure, an office holder, which warrants public access. So that's why it's totally legit.
Public access is not the governor talking at you. That's called propaganda.
Right. Don't you guys have a public access channel like a where they show NPR and stuff like that?
Quote, nothing in Utah law precludes candidates from podcasting, and Lieutenant Governor Cox and his friends are excited to continue producing weekly content that reaches all Utahns. No, see what kind of parsing they did right there? There's no law that prevents candidates from producing podcasts. That's true. It's not illegal to produce podcasts. What's illegal is for you to give preference as a radio or television.
So if he was making it on his own and just
putting it on SoundCloud or something.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, then it would be different.
It's not
or
even
Spreaker, where you can subscribe to Defending Utah Radio on Spreaker.
Yeah. It's not even a podcast though, because it's on the radio.
Well, it's not broadcast on the radio. It's broadcast through KSL's podcast platform, not through the radio, not over the air.
Oh, okay. So it is a podcast. So it's certainly not access.
Right. Yeah, you can't call in and find out what's going on. And
you can't access him, but he can access you.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, propaganda. You just hear it. It goes in your head, and that's it.
So what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is corruption? Give us a call, 801-254-1640. We're going to go to the phone lines. Line 5, you're on K-Talk with Defending Utah.
Hey, Hey, this is Martin, and I was curious, not that you guys don't have anything to do, but I just wondered if any of you have or know of anybody that kind of looked at all this money that's gone to the homeless, that's claimed to go for the homeless, and it seems like every 6 months or so they're...
Oh, did we lose you? Hello?
Or someone's trying to get a whole bunch of money claiming it's for the homeless, and none of it ever seems to get to the homeless. Just wonder if anybody's ever, or you know of anybody that's done any studies on where that money's gone.
You mean like all the money that's supposed to go to public education?
So
probably, yeah.
You're talking about through the government or through private charity?
Well, the thing is that it seems like there's always a government, involvement in it. And so, we do know, because there's some legislator or something usually that's sponsoring some, money, or so, they're going to charge us $60 million to repaint the street, for the homeless. And, somehow we still have the same amount of homeless or more,
You can't help homeless people because most of them are just on drugs. You give them money, they just go buy more drugs. Or if you give them a place to stay, they just use it to do drugs in. There's I
don't think the homeless is getting the money anyway.
You can't help people who don't want to be helped. You can't help people who aren't helping themselves.
Yeah, but that's beside the point. I think the real point is that the city and these legislators are just using it a way to get money to pad their own pockets.
Well, sure, that's a big part of it, and I appreciate the call. We've actually talked about this on other charities, like the In-N-Out Burger charity, and how it's complete. It's bait and switch going on there.
I was going to mention that.
A lot of the cancer charities.
Yep, because they're only required to give 1% of the donations to the supposed charity, and a lot of times what they do is they just give that 1% to another charity that then only has to donate 1% of that 1% to charity, and so it's just this whole
and then you end up giving
incestuous thing.
It goes to the guys who are just the charity promoting awareness, which
right.
By just existing, they're promoting awareness.
Yeah, that's funny you mentioned that because that's exactly what I was going to say. You got Susan G. Komen. What they do is they claim to raise awareness for breast cancer. That's all it's for. They get millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars every single year.
Yeah.
And what do? They raise awareness. They put pink ribbons on cookie packages. And,
I'm aware of breast cancer.
Yeah. Is there anyone
Success.
On Earth, is there anyone on Earth that doesn't know about breast cancer?
Well, there's new people being born all the time, and so they've just got to keep this up.
Well, so what I was going to say was, especially if there's a specific organization or campaign that he was concerned about,
right.
I would definitely advise him to go back to that and look into what their actual claims are.
Right.
Because legally,
a lot of times they'll say things that will make you think one thing, but if you look at that, how you can parse the words, they can do whatever they want.
That's exactly right.
Well, you just me and Enoch, the way that we found out about what the In-N-Out charity was doing is we looked at their tax records, which is public information, and that's where we found out all they do is they get like about $1 million from private donations.
Right.
That goes into their investment every year, and then they have like $25 million in assets, and the CEO makes $1 million a year, and then they get a grant from the federal government, and that money just goes to other charities.
Right.
And that's the only money they donate is money that was stolen from us and given to them that they then give to other charities that are probably most of them doing the same thing.
Yeah. Under false pretenses. That's disgusting too. That
it's just a big racket.
People are giving out of the kindness of their hearts, thinking that they're actually doing some good. It's just going to some guy's $1 million.
He's just
salary.
like, I want to buy like 3 Lambos this year, every year. What do? Well, let's just start this charity.
Yeah, or boost the existing one. I've been going to Sam's Club past week or so and seeing the stupid Children's Miracle Network charity campaign.
Do not give to that. Do not.
That's why I was bringing it up, because they mentioned specifically on their Intermountain and Primary Children's. And
bogus.
After listening to your story, and I've got my own story that hasn't been shared on the air yet from my brother-in-law, it's almost exactly identical to Nevaeh and just the same type of garbage. It's just crazy.
That is crazy. So I want to get back to the article. So it says both KSL and Cox say they do not intend to discontinue Cox's podcast while he's running for governor. The decision runs counter to previous decisions made by KSL when they were confronted with a host running for office. In 2011, Charlie Luke hosted a weekend talk show on KSL. That show was immediately discontinued when Luke was mentioned as a possible candidate for Salt Lake City Council in a newspaper article because station officials wanted to avoid any appearance of a conflict. So in the past, the mere mention of it possibly happening in the future was enough to get a guy off the air. But the fact that a current elected official that is already announced publicly and officially that he's running for office, it's totally different. And a bigger office, like for city council versus stinking governor.
This shows like the conspiracy. They always double down. Yeah. Like if there's something that's wrong and they don't want it to look wrong, they want you to think that it's okay. They do it even harder.
Right.
And then finally, after the only way they ever retract is basically if it's just exploded so large that they just can't control it.
Yeah.
But basically, if it's like an awareness thing and lots of people know about it, they're going to double down and try to convince all those people otherwise.
So are they claiming that it's different because Charlie Luke was doing a talk show on the air and this is a podcast? Are they?
No, they're not even distinguishing. No. Because now, with the new media and the way it results, it's effectively the same. With terrestrial radio kind of equalizing with podcast formatting, there's no essential difference. You go to, especially with what they're doing, they have their own podcast format where all throughout the day they are promoting people through their television and radio to listen to their official KSL podcasts that are exclusive to the KSL podcast. So it's just like for them, it's the difference between KSL radio and KSL News television, and now they've got their podcast. It's just a new format. And so more on this. We've got some more details when we get back from the break right here on K-Talk AM 1640.
Government. Defending Utah knows how to fix that. It's called nullification. To find out more, stop by our office and pick up your pamphlet on nullification today. DefendingUtah.org. Think right and wrong, not right and left.
This Defending Utah broadcast is brought to you in part by K-Talk Radio AM 1640, Black Lotus Web Development, blacklotuswebdev.com, the United States Constitution Made Easy to Understand by Dr. Lonnie Crockett, available at the Defending Utah Liberty Store, Shem Financial Services, 801-856-6151, Trust Plumbing, 801-808-5470, Higher Calling Firearms, highercallingfirearms.com, Pioneer Family Scholars, American Appliance, 801-254-2566, and Anderson Accounting, 801-225-0396.
It's a fact. More photos of you are being taken than ever before. Are you ashamed of your smile? At last, a new technology that gives a brighter and healthier smile in under 2 hours. And it's fully warranted, so you'll never have to worry about your smile again. Call Dr. Jeremy Thompson at Thompson Dental, 801-254-0835, or visit GoNewSmile.com, and we'll show you how you can restore your faded, yellowed, or worn teeth without surgery, crowns, or implants. And it's backed by a 30-day, 100% satisfaction money-back guarantee. This scientific breakthrough will painlessly transform your appearance in one visit. The smile you've been waiting for will never cost less or look brighter than it will today. Call 801-254-0835 or visit GoNewSmile.com. That's GONU Smile.com to revitalize your smile. New Smile. It looks good on you.
Can't get enough Defending Utah Radio? Then follow us on Facebook and subscribe to Defending Utah's YouTube channel. DefendingUtah.org. Think right and wrong, not right and left.
Welcome back to Defending Utah Radio right here on K-Talk AM 1640. We are talking about, sometimes politicians and media are not exactly kosher and are involved in, scratching each other's back. When we played earlier in the hour, we had, of course, the quote from Governor Herbert talking about how, if you just give him some cash, he'll be able to produce results for you. And Spencer Cox have quickly stood up and kind of helped soothe the situation to make it not seem as illegal as it was. But now he's involved with his own embroil with KSL, where he hosts his own program. And it's been brought to, of course, the attention of KSL and Spencer Cox, and they're kind of defending themselves, saying, no, we've got no intention of stopping this program, even though if in the past when it's been done, the mention of somebody that might run for office, like city council, got them to lose their job. And then a few years before, that was in 2011. In 2005, KSL told Doug Wright, who Doug Wrong was a host on that channel. He said that they'd have to step away from his show if he decided to run against Jim Matheson. And so this is a consistent thing that they have. They have an issue where they don't want to get in trouble with the FEC, and so they say that their people have to quit if they're going to run for office. But for some reason now, with the Cox campaign, it seems like the establishment media is hell-bent on making sure that they do not take away this opportunity from their candidate. And this is also going on. We see it on another station on the weekends here on a different channel. You have legislators that have their own program. It's basically Utah Illuminati Radio, where all of the Buckshot Caucus get together every Saturday to talk about what they want to get into. And so we do have stations that are actively promoting the legislators during campaign seasons, even not just during the session where they can claim it's a public interest, but all of the time, off when they're not in session, when they are campaigning, and they're given these opportunities to that other candidates, because of they don't have the connections and they're not part of the same good old boys club that these elected officials are. They don't get those same opportunities.
So even if it was okay to do it all the rest of the time, especially during the campaign season, it should be taken down, because what's going on is it's given him that, people listen to they're hearing his ideas, they're hearing his voice, giving him that influence. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That he has that extra time to get into people's heads, and that's just, it's not fair for others. The lesser, you've got your Constitution Party candidates and whatnot that no one's hearing what they have to say.
I guarantee you they're not going to have their own KSL podcast.
Right. They got great ideas that people need to hear, but they don't have that opportunity.
And this isn't even like, within the ranks, like everybody at the station's like, oh, yeah, this makes sense. They have people that have spoken because they're afraid of losing their job. They're saying, quote, it's definitely weird. I can say I've never seen anything like it. They're saying this is different than normal.
I guess they're really concerned that Cox isn't going to get elected.
Right.
So they're stretching it.
Which is, it must be the establishment's, choice there, but even though we've got other establishment candidates that have been rumored, like you've got, what's-his-face, Hughes, that is a complete establishment guy on the same level as Cox, that has been rumored to run, but maybe amongst themselves they decided to kind of push, let him do other opportunities later on or something.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, is to look at it from that perspective. Ask yourself why are they doubling down on this, right? What's the reason? And usually that's what Ben just called right there.
I think Herbert's super unpopular in the state.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to a lot of people, and it doesn't seem like anyone really likes him. And I think they know that, perhaps, and they're really concerned about it. And so they're like, well, because if you hate Herbert, then how can you possibly like his lieutenant governor? You'd have to be a fool.
So this is their excuse. They say the Cox's campaign says that KSL's involvement cannot be considered a donation to the campaign since KSL retains the marketing rights to the podcast, which allows them to sell advertising in order to recoup their costs.
We can just stick any two words together and they mean whatever we want now.
But
what was the point they were trying to make there?
Because they're making money off of the advertising, then it's not a donation. Because they're not donating, they're making money off of it.
That's stupid.
But that's with any radio program. That was the same circumstance with KSL firing their radio hosts. They sell advertising on the radio, but they still fired them.
That's always what they're doing. Yeah, and it totally is changing the subject, basically.
Right.
Because the subject is not whether or not they're making money off of it or giving it to him for free or whatever. The point is they're giving him that he has that airtime, which is an unfair advantage over other candidates.
Right. And then we've got the Utah Elections Office Representative Justin Lee, who is an employee of Spencer Cox, because it's the Lieutenant Governor's office that runs the Utah Elections Office. Okay, so the Utah Elections Office, run by Spencer Cox, says that he agrees with the interpretation, and so he agrees that with KSL and the Cox campaign that it's not an in-kind donation.
No, he wouldn't.
You mean like when the government investigates themselves for 9/11, things like that?
Yeah, so this is the exact situation where the government, Spencer Cox investigated himself and found out that he did nothing wrong.
Right. Wow.
You think those cops that are violating the law and looking at porn on the job are going to give themselves a ticket?
Absolutely. Every single one of them. They're like, man, I did it again. Another ticket. My wife's going to be really mad.
Oh, man,
In fact,
did it
I expect
again.
them to arrest themselves and turn themselves in.
Yes,
actually.
Yeah. Puts himself in cuffs and drives himself to the...
I'm sure it's going to happen.
Here's an interesting note. KSL would not provide statistics showing how many downloads Cox's podcast gets during a given week.
They just don't have that information.
They just don't.
Hopefully it's zero.
That would actually help them, though. They're like, nobody listens anyways.
It's not an unfair advantage
if nobody listens.
because we're so unpopular.
No, but they did say earlier in the article, like at the beginning, it said something about it being a popular podcast.
How would you know?
No.
Well, because but yeah, you're right. They just don't have.
They're not
So the
giving us
KSL's been
provide the
hosting.
data.
So that's an interesting contradiction you point out there, because yes, it says KSL's been hosting the popular Cox and Friends podcast, but we don't know how many people are listening to it to know if it's popular. So, and this is something that we need to understand is that in journalism class, they taught us that the item that they don't want you to know about is what they put in the last paragraph, because most people don't read the entire article. 99% of people read the headline and move on. That's what you see on Facebook all the time, right? People are like, man, this headline makes me angry. And then the other 1% read the first two paragraphs, and then like one person out of a million will read the entire article. And so they're going to say,
which is why we're on the air.
Yeah,
right.
We're the three of us are the 1%.
The 1%. And so that they're saying that it was popular, but providing no information. Then we go to the bottom of the article that nobody's reading. We know that they're full of garbage, and they're lying because they have no idea. I mean, did you know that there was a podcast by the governor on KSL? I mean, by the lieutenant governor? You don't live here. You wouldn't.
Shouldn't you ask me a more pertinent question about that? Like, do I care?
Well, okay, but they're claiming that it's popular, and something that is popular has to be known about. So I listen because I'm doing counterintelligence to KSL frequently to find out what they're talking about, and they never even...
So we can dissuade you from finding out what they're talking about because they're talking about garbage all the time.
It's not... It's
with
not
no
discussed.
Exception.
On social media, I follow all the major parties, and they're not talking about it. It's garbage.
Gabbage. You gotta say it with like a Brooklyn accent.
Yes. From Massachusetts.
So honestly, with that kind of with a journalism background, that's one. I think that we need to put out an article discussing not only that, but there's other ways too, just in the phraseology, the type of wording that you choose, and that you can, when you pay attention to the wording they're using, you know whether or not they're trying to promote it or downplay it.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? That's interesting too. I think that goes over the head of most readers. We should do some art.
What's interesting is they actually talked to other stations. KUTV had employees that said that they were extremely uncomfortable with someone they would have to cover as a featured personality on the station producing podcasts. And so they're talking to other stations, they're admitting that, yeah, they would, in that situation, how can you honestly cover a candidate that has a program on your station? Because then you're downplaying that, and that's going after the advertisers. That's even, I think, more of a problem than the FEC violation, is because you're worried about advertising, and if you've got somebody that is, you don't want to report badly on somebody because you're going to lose ad revenue. That's a much higher conflict of interest than even the FEC problem. And so that's definitely going to be something that's going to be a problem, because they're not going to, especially if Spencer Cox's program is hugely popular, as the article says, they're not going to want to lose that kind of ad revenue by saying, oh, you know what, Spencer Cox is very corrupt, and so Spencer takes his immensely popular program somewhere else. And so, I mean, it's not just the FEC problems. This is a huge conflict of interest all around.
Yeah, he's making us money.
Yeah, with his immensely popular podcast that we won't release the numbers on. So, I mean, that not to negate that those two things on our side don't negate that. These are things that, as they're trying to promote it and make it more popular, these are the things that they're going to see. So make sure, and we got to understand that mainstream media is one giant advertisement for something.
Yeah.
And so when they are doing these things, you need to understand what it is that they are trying to sell to you. Because I was telling my kids the other day about the apps that they download on their phone. They're like, but Dad, it's free. It's not going to cost you any money. I'm like, well, a free app that means you're the product. And so a free radio, that means you're the product is the issue there. And so if you're dealing with these entities that are more interested in the bottom line than they are with actually the public service, you're going to have that as the issue. And so with that, we've got a few minutes left. I want to make an announcement for tomorrow. Defending Utah is going to be speaking at the Utah Constitution Party state convention, and we will have a table there. And so we encourage you all to go to this. This is tomorrow at 9 a.m. to 2 is their state convention. I'll be speaking on solutions, nullification, and ways that we can implement that. They'll have other speakers. But it's tomorrow at from 9 to 2 at the Salt Lake County building at 2001 South State Street there in Salt Lake. And so
let me point out that I'll be there.
That.
I'll be in tow as well. I'm not speaking. I'm not as cool as Ben. No one wants to hear from me. But if you have any family or friends up in Idaho, stop by and say hi. Drop me a line. If there's anybody else in town that's from Idaho, come by and say hi. We'd love to hook up with you and get you. We're looking to expand our.
Don't forget about the free
reach
offer
up there too.
We'll have our booklets there, our DVDs there.
Every visitor to the booth will get a free 5.56 cartridge.
You better bring those.
One free bullet for each individual.
You're not even going to be there.
No, I'm not even.
Don't make false promises.
No, you got to go buy some ammo, so you can just here's your single bullet.
You're going to make me buy because if you're promised, now I got to go buy some ammo.
Yeah,
so,
that was the idea.
Again, that's the Constitution Party of Utah State Convention tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 2, at the Salt Lake County Building, 2001 South State Street. Also, want to make sure that so we'll have our booklets there, our DVDs, and so if you just you're like, hey, I'll go hear him speak, and I'll come pick up some booklets all at the same time.
It's called swag. Actually.
Swag. Well, because we are going to be giving away some free stuff as well.
I really despise that word.
And encourage you to go to defendingutah.org, become a supporting member. Right now, we've got the special offer of our free Liberty Pack for everybody that signs up during the summer months. You'll be getting your free Defending Utah T-shirt. You'll be getting a copy of all of our booklets as well as all of our DVDs just for becoming a member, in addition to the regular perks such as your 2 or 4 day course to front sight weapons training.
That's awesome.
Which is sweet. That's several $100 value right there off the top. And so you should be going to defendingutah.org every day. We're posting new materials there. And it's just a great place to be able to get the real lowdown on what's really going on. Make sure also that you're subscribing to our podcast on your phone. We're going to be coming out with we're finishing things up. We're going to be coming out with the Defending Utah app for your phone as well. And so make sure that you're looking for that to be able to subscribe. You'll be getting notifications and knowing what's all going on with Defending Utah.
That app will be ready in the next couple years.
No, because they've got it through Spreaker, so we'll be finishing that.
So we're doing the Spreaker thing.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So it actually exists.
It actually exists. We're just Enoch and I are just making sure. So some people brought up some good comments of some apps, right? Because they're free, are they've got privacy issues. But with this app, we have made it so that we're not collecting any data from anybody that downloads it. It's just part of our promo because we want to promote what we're doing, and so that's how that is going to be working. We want to make sure we found something that wasn't being a Trojan horse on your phone.
I mean, I'm like part of the upper echelons of Defending Utah. I don't even know about this now.
This is top secret.
Can I say that? I'm part of the upper echelons?
You're the elite of the elite.
Yeah.
Some people, because they haven't heard Enoch on the radio for so long, they thought you were in charge of Defending Utah. Some of the emails that
and they would be right.
They would be.
I've got friends in low places.
So thanks so much for joining us. Make sure and join us every Friday. This Defending Utah broadcast is brought to you in part by K-Talk Radio AM 1640, Black Lotus Web Development, blacklotuswebdev.com, the United States Constitution Made Easy to Understand by Dr. Lonnie Crockett, available at the Defending Utah Liberty Store, Shem Financial Services, 801-856-6151, Trust Plumbing, 801-808-5470, Higher Calling Firearms, highercallingfirearms.com, Pioneer Family Scholars, American Appliance, 801-254-2566, and Anderson Accounting, 801-225-0396.
It's a fact. More photos of you are being taken than ever before. Are you ashamed of your smile? At last, a new technology that gives a brighter and healthier smile in under 2 hours. And it's fully warranted, so you'll never have to worry about your smile again. Call Dr. Jeremy Thompson at Thompson Dental, 801-254-0835, or visit GoNewSmile.com, and we'll show you how you can restore your faded, yellowed, or worn teeth without surgery, crowns, or implants. And it's backed by a 30-day, 100% satisfaction money-back guarantee. This scientific breakthrough will painlessly transform your appearance in one visit. The smile you've been waiting for will never cost less or look brighter than it will today. Call 801-254-0835 or visit GoNewSmile.com. That's GONU Smile.com to revitalize your smile. New smile. It looks good on you.